Hello everyone, this is Sam, the designer behind Scribble's Crochet Corner, and today I have a quick and fun plant pattern for you all, the Mini Plant Buddy. I am super excited about this pattern. It is another low sew pattern that I have for you all, and it was inspired by my larger Plant Buddy pattern, which you can find that one on my website. The ad-free PDF for this pattern is also available on my website, which I will link to down below. But let's go ahead and get started. For this pattern, you will need worsted weight yarn. I use Premier Basics worsted in the colors white, light mauve, mahogany, leaf, and lime. You will also need a size F or 3.75mm crochet hook, some black crochet thread, polyester fiberfill stuffing, scissors, a set of 14mm safety eyes, stitch markers, and a yarn needle. First, we will be starting with crocheting the pot. With white yarn and your crochet hook, 6 single crochet in a magic ring. If you have never crocheted a magic ring before, I do have a tutorial on my YouTube channel which I can link to above. For round 2, single crochet increase in each stitch around. You will have 12 stitches after completing this round. Just to note here, using stitch markers is a great tool for marking the beginning of each round. I find that it makes crocheting in the round much easier when you know where you're starting and stopping at the end of each round. For round 3, you are going to 1 single crochet, then increase, repeating this 6 times around. You will finish this round with 18 stitches. For round 4, first 1 single crochet, then increase, then crochet 2 single crochets, and then an increase. Repeat this sequence for a total of 5 times. Finish the round with one single crochet. You should now have 24 total stitches. For round 5, 3 single crochet and then increase, repeating this 6 times around. You should finish this round with 30 total stitches. For round 6, begin with 2 single crochets and then an increase. Then crochet 4 single crochets and then an increase, repeating this sequence 5 times around. You will then finish this round with 2 single crochets. You should have a total of 36 stitches at the end of this round. For round 7, 5 single crochets and then an increase, repeating this sequence 6 times around. At the completion of this round, you should have a total of 42 stitches. We have now completed the bottom portion of our pot. We will now move on to the sides. For round 8 of the pot, we will be crocheting in the back loops of our last round. To crochet in the back loops, you will be crocheting in the loops farthest away from your hook. Crochet a single crochet in each back loop only stitch around. You should have a total of 42 stitches at the completion of this round. For rounds 9 through 18, you will be crocheting a single crochet in each stitch around. You will have a total of 42 stitches at the completion of each round for a total of 10 rounds. I'm going to crochet the first round with you all, and then I will take a break and come back once you've completed all 10 rounds. At this point, you should have completed round 18 of your pot. We are now going to move on to round 19, which we will be crocheting in the front loops for this entire round, which means you will be crocheting in the loop closest to your hook. And I'm going to pause here just for a little tip. I am going to place a stitch marker in the first back loop only stitch from round 19. This indicates where the soil will start at a later step. You can now continue crocheting your single crochets in the front loops of each of the stitches. At the completion of this round, you will have a total of 42 stitches. For round 20, we will be crocheting in the back loops again. And again, this means that we will be crocheting in the loop farthest from your hook. You will crochet a single crochet in each of the back loops all the way around. You will complete this round for a total of 42 stitches. For round 21, single crochet in each stitch around. You will complete this round with 42 stitches. Once you have completed round 21, you can now fasten off your yarn. And we will be using the invisible stitch to fasten off. To complete an invisible fasten off, first pull the yarn tail through the last stitch. Then thread the tail onto a yarn needle. Skip the first stitch and insert the needle from back to front under both loops of the next stitch. Pull the yarn through. Insert the yarn needle in the back loop of the last stitch in the round. Pull gently on the yarn tail until it mimics the size of the other stitches. Now you can weave in your end. I find it easiest to weave your tail into the inside of the pot. We will be stuffing our pot later, so that tail will be easily hidden inside. Hooray, so our pot is now done. We are now going to move on to our facial features for our plant buddy. Starting with our safety eyes, you will need two 14mm safety eyes as mentioned previously. We will be inserting these eyes at round 14 to 15 of the pot, about 4 to 5 stitches apart. Make sure you are checking placement of your safety eyes before securing the backs onto your eyes. Next, using some black crochet thread and your yarn needle, we will embroider a mouth between rounds 12 to 14, making sure they're centered between and just below the eyes. First, insert your needle from inside your pot, pulling through the stitch, about one stitch over from your eye, and then back through in the same row about one stitch over from your other eye. You should have about 3 stitches in between each point of the mouth. You will then insert your needle back through the inside of your pot and about 1 row down from those first 2 points. Make sure that the needle is centered between those 2 points on your mouth, pulling it tightly, making sure that the thread is over the initial mouth shape that you made, and then back through that same stitch, pulling tightly. Before fastening off your crochet thread, we are going to embroider our eyebrows. We will be embroidering the eyebrows between round 17 and 18 at a slight angle and above each eye. First, insert your yarn needle from inside the pot and about 2 rows up from the eye, and then count about 2 stitches to the right, inserting your needle back through the stitch and inside the pot. We will now move on to the next eyebrow, repeating this same technique, but just on the opposite eye. Here I'm just going to make sure that my eyebrows are lined up how I would like them to look before I fasten off my crochet thread. So I think that these look pretty good to me. They look even. I'm going to go ahead and fasten off my crochet thread and tie it off inside the pot. The last facial feature we are going to add to our pot is some blush. With a small amount of light mauve yarn and your yarn needle, we're going to embroider our blush between rounds 12 to 13 under each eye. First, insert your yarn needle from inside your pot, about 1 row down from your right eye. Pull your yarn through and count about 1 stitch over to the right, pulling the yarn back through the pot. We are then going to repeat this same technique with our other eye. Make sure your blush looks even before fastening off, and then once it looks good, go ahead and fasten off your yarn and tie off inside the pot. You have now finished embroidering your facial features. We will now move on to crocheting the soil. When crocheting the soil, I find that it is easiest to flip down the top lip of the pot, exposing round 19's back loops that we will be crocheting the soil in. We are going to start crocheting our soil where we placed our stitch marker back when we crocheted the pot. I'm going to insert my hook here just to mark the place of where I'm starting my soil. With your mahogany yarn, you will first join with a slip stitch to the first back loop only stitch from round 19 of the pot. You will then chain 1, and 1 single crochet in the same stitch as a join. You will now continue crocheting a single crochet in each back loop only stitch. After the completion of this round, you will have a total of 42 stitches. For round 2, you will crochet 5 single crochets and then an invisible decrease, repeating the same sequence 6 times. At the completion of this round, you should have a total of 36 stitches. For round 3, you will first crochet 2 single crochets and then an invisible decrease. Then crochet 4 single crochets and an invisible decrease, repeating this sequence 5 times around. Finish crocheting this round with 2 single crochets. At the completion of this round, you should have a total of 30 stitches. For round 4, crochet 3 single crochets and then an invisible decrease, repeating this sequence 6 times around. At the completion of this round, you should have a total of 24 stitches. We are now going to pause crocheting here to start stuffing our pot. Taking small pieces of polyfill stuffing, begin stuffing your pot. I like to stuff my stuffing from the outside in. I find that this prevents lumps and bumps on your finished creation and stuffs it a little bit more evenly. We will now continue on to round 5 of the soil. First, we will crochet one single crochet and then an invisible decrease. Then crochet 2 single crochets and an invisible decrease, repeating this same sequence 5 times around. We'll then finish off this round with one single crochet. At the completion of this round, you should have a total of 18 stitches. For round 6, crochet one single crochet and then an invisible decrease, repeating the same sequence 6 times around. At the completion of this round, you should have a total of 12 stitches. For round 7, crochet an invisible decrease, repeating this same stitch 6 times around. At the completion of this round, you should have a total of 6 stitches. Change the color to leaf in the last stitch of round 7. You have now finished crocheting the soil. You will now move on to crocheting your stem. For round 1 of the stem, you will be crocheting using the leaf color yarn, and you will also be crocheting in the front loops of the previous round of the soil. So you will crochet 6 single crochets in the front loops of each of the stitches. At the completion of this round, you should have a total of 6 stitches. Before we continue on to round 2, at this point you can fasten off the mahogany yarn and you can hide the yarn tails of both the mahogany yarn and the leaf yarn inside the pot just to get them out of the way, and it makes it a little bit easier to finish crocheting your stem. For rounds 2 to 3, you will crochet a single crochet in each stitch around for a total of 6 stitches. You will have a total of 2 rounds of single crochets. I am now going to stuff the stem. It is handy if you have a little wooden stick that you can push the stuffing easily into the stem. Some of it will fill into the pot, but just stuff as much as you can. The stem is quite small, so it really doesn't require much stuffing. Just do the best you can. It should stand up on its own with or without stuffing. For round 4, first crochet 1 single crochet and then an invisible decrease, repeating this same sequence 2 times. At the completion of this round, you should have a total of 4 stitches. Now fasten off, leaving a short tail for closing. With the yarn tail and yarn needle, weave the tail through the front loops of the remaining 4 stitches. Pull tight to close, and weave in the end inside the pot. You have now finished crocheting the stem. We will now be moving on to crocheting the leaves. With leaf color yarn, crochet 4 single crochets in a magic ring. For round 2, 1 single crochet, and then increase, repeating this sequence 2 times. At the completion of this round, you should have a total of 6 stitches. For round 3, single crochet increase in each stitch around. At the completion of this round, you should have a total of 12 stitches. For rounds 4 and 5, single crochet in each stitch around for a total of 12 stitches. This is 2 total rounds. For round 6, one single crochet, and then increase, repeating this sequence 6 times around. After completing this round, you should have a total of 18 stitches. For rounds 7 through 10, single crochet in each stitch around. Each round will have a total of 18 stitches for 4 total rounds. For round 11, one single crochet and then invisible decrease, repeating this sequence 6 times. At the completion of this round, you should have a total of 12 stitches. For rounds 12 and 13, single crochet in each stitch around. Each round should have a total of 12 stitches for 2 total rounds. For round 14, invisible decrease 6 times around. At the completion of this round, you should have a total of 6 stitches. For round 15, 1 single crochet, and then invisible decrease, repeating this sequence 2 times. At the completion of this round, you should have a total of 4 stitches. Now fasten off, leaving an 8-inch or 20 centimeter tail for sewing. Leave the leaf unstuffed and flatten with your hands. This is your first leaf, but make sure to make 2 leaves for this pattern. After you have made both leaves, we will now move on to embroidering the veins to our leaves. Using the lime yarn and a yarn needle, insert the yarn needle into the hole at the bottom of the leaf. You will embroider the first vein down the middle of the leaf from round 2 to round 14 of the leaf. For the second vein, you will embroider between rounds 2 to 3 of the leaf. When you are embroidering the veins, make sure that you are only weaving the yarn through the stitches on the top portion of the leaf. For the last 4 veins, I like to weave my needle through the center of the first vein, securing it to the leaf. For the third vein, you will embroider between rounds 5 to 7 of the leaf. For the fourth vein, you will embroider between rounds 8 to 10 of the leaf. And for the fifth vein, you will embroider between rounds 12 to 13 of the leaf. After you have completed embroidering all of the veins on the leaf, fasten off your yarn and tie off. I like to hide the yarn tails inside the leaf. And repeat this process with the second leaf. Once you have finished embroidering both of the veins on your leaves, you can now move on to assembling the rest of your mini plant buddy. With your yarn needle and the first leaf, we will begin to sew this leaf to our stem. Sew the end of each leaf between rounds 3 to 4 on either side of the stem. For the first leaf, I like to have this one slightly angled forward, and for the second leaf, I like to have it slightly angled backwards. However, you can sew the leaves on your stem however you would like, that's just what I prefer, but get creative with it. Okay, so I now finished sewing my first leaf to the stem. I'm going to move on to the second leaf, sewing this one to the stem. As I said before, I'm going to sew this one at a slightly backwards angle. And just a note here, I do like to hide my yarn tails in the soil. So once I'm finished sewing my leaves, I will tie it off and hide it in the soil. Okay, I've now finished sewing on my two leaves. Like I mentioned, I am going to tie off the two yarn tails and just hide them in the soil. Makes weaving in ends a whole lot easier. Well, there you have it. You now have a completed mini plant buddy. I hope you enjoyed this pattern and this video was helpful when crocheting your mini plant buddy. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on my website, www.squibblescrochetcorner.com. Feel free to comment below also if you have any questions. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you would like to stay updated on more free patterns. I hope you had a great time crocheting your mini plant buddy, and as always, happy crocheting. Bye everyone.